to tell the story of when I got my first puppy. Okay, so we're going back like Kelly to about 1994-ish. I'm about 5 years old. Also in New Jersey, in central New Jersey, in a small town called New Egypt. It's pretty much a farm town. It's in Ocean County. It's the #1 town for farmland preservation in all of New Jersey, and I'm pretty sure it's top 3 for the Northeast. So that you'll see how that plays in a little bit later in the story. So it's a really small town, about 8,000 people. That's what it is now. Back then it was probably under 6. So it's very, very small into comparison of New York City or someplace like that. But the evening was about mid-December. It was a cold December, and I remember I had been nagging for a dog for going on a year now, and my younger sister she was 1 at the time, so she really didn't know what a dog was at that point. But I knew I definitely wanted one, and my parents, they just had moved into the house maybe 4 or 5 years prior to this. And so they were pretty much on board with it. I was kind of hoping that was going to be my Christmas present. So one night, I'm at home. It's about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I'm getting ready for bed. I'm a little kid, and my mom's upstairs cleaning and taking care of my sister. Just the usual kind of mom stuff you do. And my dad would come home from work at about 7:30, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, depending on what day of the week it was. And that night, what I remember is the story that he tells me leading up to me getting the dog. So he pulls in, and not quite into the driveway, but he comes up onto our street, and it's like pitch black. They have, at this point, it's new, like there's a couple new houses on the street. There's no street lights, and there's a huge horse farm, maybe 100 meters to the north of our house. So it's a couple houses over, but it's right there. A big 100-acre horse farm. So you would imagine that there's of course going to be some strange animals and maybe some deer. New Jersey's notorious for having deer. But on this particular evening, in the middle of December, on this cold night, there was 2 very, very exceptional animals that came out. So my dad is approaching our street, and he's in a small Chevy S10, and these 2 gigantic wild boars come and block him coming onto our street. So just to paint a picture of what a wild boar looks like. Imagine a pig, a regular pink piglet. Add on 160 pounds, give it dark brown or black hair, and give it horns, and then huge buck teeth. Then you pretty much have a boar. Anybody here eat boar's head meat, boar's head? That's actually what it looks like. It's just a nasty pig with a really, really grumpy, bad attitude. So now these 2 boars, for whatever reason, did not, I don't know if it was the headlights on my dad's truck or what it was, did not want him to continue down Morehouse Road into my driveway. So, he's sitting in the truck, and he actually has the puppy that I'm supposed to get. I was getting a little bit before Christmas. He has it inside his jacket. He just had picked it up, and it was a really, really small, little fluffy white Bichon. So it's a little tiny puppy tucked inside his jacket. So he's in the truck, and he's thinking, I got this tiny dog. My house is right here, and there are these 2 disgusting pigs blocking me from getting home. So he starts to roll up, creeps towards them, and they're not moving. So he's like, you know what? He's in a truck, and luckily there's a house next door that wasn't finished, and it had had dirt in front of it because they hadn't laid the sod down yet. So he tries to go real quick around them, and he does. He manages to do so. And after he passes them, one stays in the middle of the road, and the other one actually runs as he's going like this to go into my driveway, and the other board turns around and rams the side of the truck. Completely rams it, caves in the one door. So he's like, okay, this is not good. Now remember, we're the early 90s, so there's no cell phones yet. It's not like he can call the police or animal control from the car. So he goes and he manages to get into the driveway. And now that the two wild boars are standing at the edge of the driveway, he gets out and just sprints to the front door. He makes it in the house and he grabs my mom and says, call 911, call the police, and get me my rifle. So he gives the puppy to my mom. My mom's like, she didn't really ask any questions. She's, okay. Gets the rifle, hands it to my dad, and hands the phone to my dad, and he goes on and tells the police department exactly, what's happened. There's these two wild animals in my front yard. I might have to get out sometime later in the evening, and they're just blocking the driveway. They're not going anywhere. And he explained how they rammed the vehicle. So the police say, okay, we're gonna come out there, see what the situation is, and try to get animal control going. So, long story short, not really short, but the puppy's now out of the picture, and the police arrive. It's one patrol car comes up, and you can kind of imagine it's pitch black outside, and you just see the lights, the red and blue lights from the police car. Not only do we see the lights, or my dad in this case, but also the wild boars, and they did not like that either. So they now ram the police car. My dad's standing on the front porch. We have a porch in the front of my house, grass, a driveway, and then the street is like this. So my dad is on the porch watching these two wild boars ram a police car. One rams the side, and the other rams the brush car they have in the front. So they eventually back off, still kind of hanging out in the area, walking from my front yard to the street. The cop gets out of the car, runs up to my porch just to make sure my dad's okay and everything. And he says, bad news is we're stuck because animal control is 45 minutes away. So the cop says, hopefully what we can do is, you go back inside, I'll make it back to my car, maybe it'll be gone by morning. So with that, my dad's like, okay, that should be fine. As the policeman steps off the porch and starts going back to his car, the two boars charge my dad and the police officer, just out of nowhere, just full-blown sprint. So, you can imagine, it's, my dad and the cop standing in my front yard, these two boars just start coming at him. So the cop pulls out his gun, unloads an entire magazine into the one boar, doesn't go down. My dad has it's a rifle, not a crazy high-powered rifle, but I think it may have been a 22, unloads 10 rounds into one, still doesn't go down. The cop reloads, puts another 15-round mag in, finally the two boars drop after probably 30 bullets hit them. And that was the end of the boars, thank God for the night. So, after all that, we go back in the house, I hear the story, my mom hears the story. Animal control finally comes, 45 minutes later, or whatever, close to an hour, clean up the pigs, they were not in danger or anything. Apparently there's a farm that raised them a couple miles away, and they had gotten out for whatever reason. And I went along to get my first little puppy. They wrapped it up nice and came downstairs, and there I had my first little white Bichon Frise. And little did I know what had happened leading up to that event. And that's it.